So the sentencing for two owners of a Roseville funeral home has been postponed in order to allow the terms of restitution to be determined. It's Mark and Lisa Bueller charged with spending money they received for prepaid funerals instead of putting it into an escrow account. That way they could guarantee the funeral services would be performed, but they spent the money. And so when it came time for planting, there was no seed money, if I can put it that way to you. That'll be later this summer. They'll finally get sentenced. Karen No, on a somewhat related matter, is a psychic medium and the author of Through the Eyes of Another, A Medium's Guide to Creating Heaven on Earth by Encountering Your Life Review Now. Good morning to you.
Hi, Michael. How are you?
Not too good these days, to tell you the truth. You want to know
Oh,
why?
no.
I'm suddenly absolutely terrified at the prospect of dying.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I don't know why. I'm 43 years old. I got a birthday coming up, and I just can't stop thinking about it. You know what bothers me the most is that the older I get, the thought that it could happen at any moment. I mean, you read stories all the time about people who go, in their 40s and 50s, just like this, in an instant sometimes of a heart attack, or sometimes they get a disease they didn't expect.
First of all, you could die at any time, but it doesn't. First of all, you're not old.
Thank you.
And the second thing is, this is something I know. It's not something that I believe or feel. It's something I know without a doubt that this is not all there is, this life here on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
We're physical. We believe we're physical, but we're spiritual beings having a human experience, and the energy of who we are continues after the body goes.
How do you know that?
How do I know that? Well, it started, we only have 10 minutes together, but to make a long story short, I had a spiritual experience about 15 years ago that brought me to the level of communicating with the angels and deceased loved ones. And when the messages come through, there are things that there's no way I would know. Messages, and they're all the people who've crossed over. They come through with their names, details, and pictures of things that I would never know. And when they come through, it's always a sign of love and peace. They're one with God, and yes, there is a God, and they're able to see the bigger picture, the bigger perspective on how they've affected people through each person's lives. There's nothing to be afraid of. I don't know if you've ever read any near-death experience books or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. I have. I go into the light and all that sort of thing.
Yes. It's very real, and that's what happens when they come through in the readings. They're able to see the bigger picture. Sometimes, they're so much at peace that they don't want to come back here. They miss their loved ones very much, but they're separated from this material world, and there's absolutely nothing to be frightened of.
But how can it be a peaceful heaven if you can't communicate with your loved ones and you miss them?
Well, that's a good question. The thing is, they are trying to communicate with us. They always are. The question is whether or not we're able to receive their messages. If we're not paying attention, they're going to give us signs, to let us know they're around. Like, I don't know if you've ever had any signs. They're able to use their energy, for example, to come inside of a bird, a ladybug, a butterfly, to let us know they're around us. It wouldn't be any bird or ladybug or butterfly. It would be something that stands out, a bird that lands on you, a ladybug that circles you, something like that, a butterfly, I mean. Do you know what I mean? Have you ever had anything like that?
Oh, yeah, I guess from time to time. Well, I remember when I was at my grandfather's house sometime after he passed away, I remember I was just a kid sitting in the living room, and the front door was slightly ajar, and so a stream of light came through and made an interesting sort of light pattern. And I stared at it, and I got this strange feeling that he was saying something to me. I didn't, and I dismissed it as, well, I just miss him, obviously. But
no,
that could have been
real. You were
real.
getting a sign, absolutely. And most people, this is very important, they think they're going to get a message as an audible voice or to see an apparition of their loved ones, and they probably won't, although they may, they are able to come through that way. But the majority of messages come as a thought that literally just pops in your head because it's a telepathic message. Because they're spiritual, they're energy. They're not going to communicate to us in the physical form.
Well, let me ask you this then: what if what if you have an enemy and you die? Can you be a mosquito and pester them and that kind of thing?
No. When you leave this world, you're able to see the bigger picture, and there are no enemies anymore. You're actually able to see how you've affected the other person as well. And see how it's not always the other person, and it's total love and peace, and that's why there's nothing to be afraid of. I talk about that in Through the Eyes of Another, the book that I just released. But you're able to see the bigger picture. You're one with God. You're able to see It's total love.
What
You wouldn't
happens
want
if
to
you
pester
have
somebody.
what if you have two deceased ex-wives and you get to heaven and you really don't want to be with either of them?
Then you choose not to be with them. You could be with whoever you want to be with, which is the greatest part. You know, sometimes when people come through in my readings, they decide to, you could work, you could evolve, you do whatever you want to do. Usually they come through with their family, but if you don't, you know, sometimes they don't come with their wives or husbands. That was funny. But yeah,
Well, no,
you worried about that?
Well, kind of, yeah, because I'm worried about everything lately. I don't know why.
Oh.
Should I be cremated, buried? Does it matter?
It doesn't matter. It's just the body. This body is just a shell. We don't understand it because we're here on Earth. We're so focused on the physical plane that this is the most important thing there is. But this body's temporary. The energy of who we are continues. And you know, it's very when you learn that in science, energy doesn't begin and it doesn't end. And the same thing with the energy of who we are.
You know what else bums me out is when I think about things that people collect, their pictures, their knickknacks, their trophies, their clothes. Suddenly their light goes out, they're gone. All that stuff has instantly no meaning, other than maybe as a souvenir for those who... But, I mean, all of that stuff in life that you collect, and in your head, too, all the knowledge that you gather, everything that you were going towards, meaningless in a flash. True?
Oh, it's not. No, it's not meaningless because what happens is the soul continues, and I don't know if you believe in reincarnation or anything like that. We choose whether or not to come back.
Oh.
And if we choose to come back, you retain that knowledge of who you were, you know, up until a point, you know, some people are very highly evolved, like Gandhi. If he comes back, if he decides to come back, he's very evolved. And other people, you know, normal people walking around the earth that just, you know, if you love collecting stamps, for example, chances are when you come back, you'll love that too.
I feel better now that I have options. Karen, no. I feel a little better. Through the Eyes of Another, a medium's guide to creating heaven on earth by encountering your life review now.